At some point, it was while you're working for Site Improve that you start realizing there's a real need and opportunity to help technology executives building personal brands and telling their own stories.
The seed was already planted when I was at SAP. The biggest reason is I saw some very talented people being pushed out, whether they're being laid off or things like this, where I realized, oh wow, you can be at a company and you can have a great reputation. Inside of the company, you have great frameworks, you think really well, people know you, but split second, you can be gone, and all of that thing you've built doesn't really matter.
You know, it's so unfortunate because I made a decision at one point to go to work for a private equity company because I wanted to understand what that was like, get that experience. I was part of the management side of a reduction in force where we had to look across our teams. It is an absolute brutal part of that process. It becomes a numbers game where it's like, okay, we have to now get the expense line to be this. And you have to then look across your teams. There's no best case. Like, you're just trying to make the least worst case possible. Great people have to go. And it's one of the most hardest, excruciating things as a manager I've ever done in my life. There's no ounce of fairness in that at all.
I think it can be a very, not only stressful time, but a very lonely time, especially if you've associated your name with a company. Those big tech companies, like enterprise level, like that happens, right? You go to the same event, you go to the yearly annual things, that's taken away. Of course, your reputation still stays, but my point is that it stays within those four walls. And when I was at Site Improve, I was already thinking for a long time that I wanted to do things on my own, to be fair. Like, I love corporate because I was good at it. I left, I think, at a time where I understood the game. Other really big plans, which was to move to the US, double, triple my salary, I was gonna get into real estate, right? Investing on the side and really build that wealth. I knew that the corporate route would kind of somehow be sacrificing for at least a decade. That's how I saw it. The personal branding piece was planted very early when I realized it's a dangerous place to be in when only people within your four walls know how great you are.
What do you see the benefit of if you have a robust personal brand and, you happen to be working for corporate? What does that give you?
A lot. I think a lot of times people tend to think, oh, I don't need a personal brand because I love my company. I have a great company. I'm loyal. I'm going to stay here. And, I don't dream to be this hotshot CXO somewhere else. So why do I need it? And what I tell those people is, funny you say that, but if you have a personal brand, you become more valuable to your company as well. More people know about what you do. Let's say you're in a team of 50 people. You might know people around you. You might be on some of those team meetings. You might be on emails forwarded, right? Maybe you've been on some kind of presentations at a work event, right? And your personal brand goes that far, your internal reputation. And people are like, oh yeah, Christopher, he's in the Arnold's team. They'll actually talk to you internally as well. And it's like, oh, you've been doing this interesting thing that I did not know from my company. It increases your visibility. I think that impacts your promotions because you're that person that everyone notices. Hard workers are not the ones that get promoted. The ones that are seen are. Being seen usually also affects your dollar bills.
I talk to people a lot about this too, and I advocate for building a brand and an expertise. So whatever you're doing inside of the technology companies, and I interviewed somebody earlier who her specialization was procurement, is going in and buying all of the things that technology companies need to run. She built that expertise and then she became known as an expert. She actually then started an external networking organization that has now come to seed multiple roles for her moving forward, vice president level roles at different companies, because she's not just seen as I am a worker at a certain level in this company, but no, you're actually a thought leader in this space. Wow, we could actually bring on board a thought leader who actually has connections, who, arguably has leverage in the industry. We can actually purchase from them. They know us. We could get our brand out there. I mean, there's all sorts of value that you can bring to your own company by being an expert in what you do.
Building that authority, which is whether it's procurement, whether it's your finance, whether it's pre-sales, what is the best way to make sure that CRM that you chose for the company was the right one? You probably had a way of figuring that out as a procurement person. Or what is the process? What is the approval process? Why is the minimum spend 1K and not 10K? What is the reasoning behind that? So if you're actually explaining to people why a certain field is the way it is, why there's more logic. Yes, people will connect it to you, but you're also educating others. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll bring this person on board to our company because we've seen what she's able to do for that company. So why not for us? And you just get way more opportunities, whether it's, can you speak at this event? Can you come to a podcast? Whatever it is, you become, exactly like you said, much more than just being a worker within a field, and you become someone that actually has something to say about the industry or the topic.